client intake reports and VITA, United Way, just a list of things, a host of things that I'm responsible for with the agency, but also with our Roma report, I'm also the person who combines and submits that report also. And we gave you name tags, so hopefully everyone put their names on it. Could you face them toward us? Since we don't know you, they can call you out. And I'll let Ben introduce himself, and then we'll get all of your introductions also.
I'm familiar with quite a few in here. Benjamin Henry, Energy Programs Coordinator for Community Service Programs. I also work on the Roma report. I also work on the program summaries for all the programs we have from LIHEAP all the way to Head Start. I also help put all the logic models together for the agency. So we'll get a chance to see what I do on a daily basis a lot when we present the information to you all today.
Okay, and could we get some introductions from you also? Start here with Ms. Harris.
I'm Familia Harris. I'm the Director of Housing Programs here at Community Service Programs of West Alabama, Inc.
I'm Victoria Perry. I'm Director of Human Resources here.
I'm Angela Martin. I am Projects Director for the Community Action Association of Alabama. We're located in Birmingham, Alabama.
I'm Tiffany Neighbors. I'm the Executive Assistant here at CSP West Alabama.
I'm Stephanie Kovorki. I'm the Director of the Early Intervention Program here at CSP.
Hey, I'm Amy Fernandez. I'm a Service Coordinator and Special Instructor for Early Intervention here.
Great. I'm Lois Pavlicek, and I'm with Head Start.
Oh, great, okay. I was hoping to have someone from a lot of different departments, people from different departments here.
Supposed to join us?
Yeah, come on in.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sure you may all know what the restrooms are, but just for those who may not know, there's a restroom in the front lobby.
Correct.
And also, if you go out on this door, turn left, and at the copy machine to the right, there's also a restroom there.
And there's a water cooler and little kitchen in there if anybody would like some water.
Thank you. Okay, one thing I wanted to introduce were the manuals that are in front of you also. There's a gray manual there. It's beautiful and gray, and we also gave you a pencil so that if you need to take notes, you wouldn't take notes inside the book, but you can take notes on the white sheets that we provided or on the pads that are in front of you. But that manual is the Introduction to Results-Oriented Management and Accountability. That's what Roma stands for. I know a lot of us have heard the term Roma and may not know what Roma actually stands for. And today we'll give a great introduction to that as well. And excuse me, there's another book that we'll make reference to. You don't have a copy of it. It's Drucker. And we'll just make reference to it and you'll see it here. And it's one of the persons who helped with the leadership and management implemented it to Roma also. Okay, there should be an agenda inside all of your books. And we've put some breaks in there, so we'll do a module or do a section or two, and then we'll take a break, a 10-minute break. We'll also have a lunch built in at, is it 12? Okay, a 12 noon lunch for an hour is on your own, and we'll meet back here at 1 and get started with the second half of the day. Okay, and someone else just came in.
You have to say who you are and what you do.
I apologize. I was dealing with something this morning. My name is Stacey Sneed. I'm the Education Coordinator here for CSB.
Great to meet you. Could you get your nameplate also when you get a chance and put your name on there and face it toward us?
Absolutely.
So we'll be able to call out.
Oops.
Is there anyone who is comfortable reading or who isn't comfortable reading out loud? Like if we were to call you to read a paragraph or something, you wouldn't be caught off guard, you wouldn't be uncomfortable?
No, but I might need to go get my reading glasses during the break.
Okay.
Depending on the size of the
Say your
text.
excuse.
So we're trying to call you this after
Or
first break.
Cornelius.
Okay.
Well, as long as my arms are.
Are there any questions from anyone?
Hold mine, I'll hold yours.
Anyone have questions? Okay, well today we will discuss 7 modules, just 7 different areas with the training, and we've divided them up. So Ben will actually get started with the history. And we'll get started now.
Again, I want to say good morning to everyone that's here. It's really a pleasure to present the information to everyone that we have and hopefully, once we present it, when you leave here, you have a good understanding of Roma. Module 1 is called History, Purpose, and Perspective. If you turn to page 1 in your manual, you can follow along. I will give you insights on different pages as we go along on the presentation. We have some learned objectives in this first module, and we have 3 of them. One objective is to identify historical milestones of the community action and understand how it relates to the implementation of the Roma. The second one is community action agency with the focus on family, agency, and community outcomes. They've been designed to be more simple, direct service providers. And the last objective is to show that how lessons from history can help us identify future actions in the Roma cycle. First, we're going to start out with some dates in history. I want you can follow along as I go through the dates in your manual. So we're going to start at the beginning. The beginning was 1964. Was anybody around in 1964?
Oh, yeah.
I
There were a lot of
I
us
just-
around in 1964.
I just wanted to see how many people were around 1964. That was the
It's a
EO,
wonder we could hobble in this morning.
that was the EOA, the Economic Opportunity Act that was created by the Community Action Network. In addition to the EOA, the Civil Rights Act was enacted in the same year, and it was under the legislation of Lyndon Johnson. And also it created Head Start, 1964. We'll say 1964 going into 1965. These programs by Lyndon Johnson were part of his what is called the Great Society and his war on poverty. The original legislation supporting the community action networks, it was to provide the basis for the family, community, and agency models of the community action agencies. The focus for the CAAs was primarily to focus on individuals and family self-sufficiency, the community revitalization, the mobilization of resources for anti-poverty purposes, working in partnerships and collaboration with other organizations, and agency accountability. We have also called the OEA.
National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning.
That's good to know.
How did I mute?
Just turn it off.
Excuse me, Ben, because of that interruption, it reminded me, can everyone?
Interruption. In 1970, which is another date, and I'm sure some more people started coming on the scene that's in this room now, since we're moving further along. I wasn't quite on the scene yet. 1970 is the mission and the model. The mission and the model. In 1970, it established the mission and the model of the Community Action Agency. It was to provide a way to connect the current Roma principles with the original guidance found in the assurance, what was called OEO Instruction 6320-1. OEO stands for Office of Economic Opportunity. And when this was established, we have 3 things again: the family, community, and agency. Up under the family, it was an opportunity for individuals or families to be more self-sufficient and less dependent on subsidized support. When it comes to the community, it was to mobilize the community to improve the lives of low-income people and the communities and enable the community to be more responsive to the low-income people. And when it comes to the agency, it was to hold the agency accountable for realistic, attainable objectives that were expressed in the terms and the measurements of the results that the community action agencies were looking at. Next 2 dates I want to look at is 1974 and 1981. I still wasn't on the scene yet in 1984, so this is still before my time. In 1984, we had President Gerald Ford's administration, and this was the EOA was terminated during his administration. We also found that the funding of community action agencies was included in the Community Service Act of 1984. So it went from one act to the Community Service Act of 1974. With this change, the OEO was terminated and replaced by an agency that was created under the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, the Community Service Administration, the CSA. I want to point out something to you. Even though it was a change, the movement inside the federal government and the name change, it did not change the mission or the purpose of the whole funding. So the mission and the funding never changed, even though the acts changed. In 1981, the creation of the CSBG, Community Service Block Grants, we're all familiar with that, working at community action. It decreased the role of responsibility of the federal government, while it increased the roles of the state government. So the federal government started giving the funding to the state government. So the roles for the state government became bigger. The federal government role was limited to just giving the funding to the states. So instead of me just taking care of everything, I present the funding to Ms. Harris. And I step back. And then Ms. Harris is the state. She spreads it out to the community action agencies. But then again, here we go. It said it limited the funding while the states became active administrators with responsibilities to planning, financial management, and reporting. So the states have responsibility now. It just went all on the federal government. But then again, I'm going to tell you again, the changes in the administration of the community action funding from federal to state, it didn't change the mission and the purpose. So it still was the same mission, the same purpose, even though the way it was trickled down changed. 1993. I'm familiar with this date. And I can remember this date because I graduated from high school in 1993. So when I seen it, I said, hey, I was here now. Can't get away from me. Measurement and accountability. The Government Performance and Results Act, which is called GAPRA, it mandated that all federal fund programs be able to establish performance goals and measure results. Turn to page 4 in your manual, and Ms. Harris, read the shaded area. Read the 6 bullet points. The shaded area on page 4, sorry. The shaded area on page 4 at the top.
Okay. The purposes of this act are to improve federal program effectiveness and public accountability by promoting a new focus on results, service quality, and customer satisfaction, and to help federal for meeting program objectives and by providing them with information about program results and service quality.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. With that being said, GUPRA was motivated for the review of original purpose and direction, which was the seed of Roma, which has always been with us. It's always been with Community Action Agency, what Roma is all about. 1994 is the next date. I want, let me see. Angela, will you read the 6 bullet points on page 4? The 6 bullet points that we have.
Sure. These points were made regarding the expectations of the Act. First, establish performance goals by program activity. Express such goals in an objective, quantifiable, and measurable form. Describe the operational processes, skills, technology, and the human capital, information, and or other resources required to meet the performance goals. Establish performance indicators to be used in measuring or assessing the relevant outputs, service levels, and outcomes of each program activity. Provide a basis for comparing the actual program results with the established performance goals, and describe the means to be used to verify and validate measured values.
Thank you. So we see in 1994 that MATF, which is the Monitoring and Task Force, it created by the Office of Community Service to explore the results that had been identified by various CAAs, community action agencies across the country. MATF produced the 6 national goals and other materials that were part of the framework for the family, agency, and community scales. The 6 national goals, they provide the framework which all activity is conducted by a community action agency. We have the 6 national goals posted on the wall, and you can see we have goal 1, goal 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Goal 1 says low income people become more self-sufficient. Goal 2, the condition in which low income people live are improved. Goal 3, low income people own a stake in their community. Goal 4, partnerships among supporters and providers of services to low income people are achieved. Goal 5, agencies increase their capacity to achieve results. And goal 6, low income people, especially vulnerable populations, achieve their potential by strengthening family and other supportive services. And we see we have them coded family, community, and agency. So we're still with what's been set aside from the beginning. The 6 national goals, they focus on improving family stability, self-sufficiency, collaboration with partnerships, and developing the capacity to achieve results. MATF, it identified a performance-based system for management and accountability that we call Roma. Roma, results-oriented management and accountability, it was developed to support the management of community action agencies as a response to GAPRO. Because they had requirements, that's what was the response, was through Roma. Up until this time, the community action agencies, they practiced Roma on a daily operation, but it was all voluntary. So it wasn't that they had to use Roma, but they just voluntarily used it. Roma was defined as a performance-based initiative designed to preserve the anti-poverty focus of community action and promote a greater effectiveness among state, local agencies that were receiving the CSBG funding. As Roma began to spread, the OCS, which is the Office of Community Service, supported the development of the training of Roma programs to standardize the way that community action agencies around the country thought about Roma. One of the tools that became part of the Roma training was the modification of what we call the logic model. The logic model was created in 1970 by a man named Joseph Woley, and it was for program evaluation. This is a preview of what we're going to build throughout the day today. We're going to build a logic model from now to when we leave here. All of us are going to build a logic model. In 1996, Roma applied in the network. It was applied strictly to the network. Can I get someone, let me see, anybody, I'm not going to call anybody, I want someone to read on page 7, read the shaded area on page 7. The shaded area, anybody can read.
All right, I'll go. Roma incorporates the use of outcomes, results into the administration, management, operation, and evaluation of human services. Local CAAs were asked to focus on the achievement of outcomes in addition to the traditional counting of clients and units of service.
Thank you, Lois. In 1998, the CSBG Act was reauthorized in 1998. This is the last reauthorization that we have, and we are operating on what we call now is continued resolution. No changes. It became mandatory in October 1, 2001, that we report through Roma. Roma is included in the 1998 reauthorization, and it's about identifying, measuring, and analyzing results in addition to reporting on numbers of clients who receive services or participate in activity. So we having a report on clients that come in for a service or participate in an activity. In 2001, the Information Memorandum, which is called the MI-49, it's a public policy document that sets Roma within the context of compliance under GAPRA. And it provides guidance for both scales of the CSBG agencies and the community action agencies for managing clients' activities and reporting their results. So we have to manage their activities and report their results. IM-49 is what we'll call it, is the document that most clearly defines Roma. Just before the mandatory reporting, which was in October 1, 2001. So before it became mandatory, they had to review it. They wanted to see, okay, how is this gonna happen? Before they start implementing Roma, let's look at it. But IM-49 reminds us of the original purpose, and it focuses on the three levels: family, agency, and community levels. That's what we work in every day. Miss Victoria, can you read on page 9 the bold print and the shaded areas on that page, please?
Okay, these are directions for the mandatory reports. In order to focus efforts on client, community, and organizational change, these things have to happen. CAAs must not focus on program-based delivery systems, but rather see how programs work together within the agency to promote changes, not just to provide units of service. The effectiveness of CAAs is measured by the positive impact on the client, resulting from participation in one or more or multiple programs of the Community Action Agency. Community Action Agencies work to improve their community as well as their own agency management processes. The next main idea is understanding the interdependence of clients, communities, and programs. This emphasizes the interdependence of family, agency, and community levels whose effectiveness depends on sound agency management. The third main point, recognizing that community service block grants do not succeed as an individual program. This establishes that community action agencies work best in partnership with other community-based organizations, that CSBG funds are used to leverage the other resources, and that all activities and outcomes of a CAA, whether funded by CSBG or other sources, are reportable.
Thank you, Victoria. With that being said, in 2005, the National Indicators of Community Action Performances came about. It became a mandatory activity for services delivered after July 1, 2005. That's NPIs, National Performance Indicators. I'm going to read just a little bit of a background, just so you'll get a view of what was going on at this time. The first comprehensive survey of community action agencies and state CSBG offices was conducted in 1983, cooperative venue between NASCAS and the National Governors Association, with outside assistance from the Center for the Community Futures. This led to the development of the National Voluntary Reporting System, which was in place until the network's first mandatory reporting in 2001. Remember, mandatory reporting was in 2001. Since 1987, the National Association of State Community Service Programs, which is called NASCAS, has been responsible for staffing the Information System Task Force, the ISTF, and administering the CSBG Information System, CSBG-IS. Prior to mandate and reporting dates, several states had created standardized indicators. It was based on the aggregation and analysis of measurements that had been independently developed by the local agencies. So these agencies had their own indicators. The state's identified indicators were reviewed by NASCAS and ISTF, along with comprehensive analysis done at the national level of the literally thousands of different outcomes. There are thousands of outcomes that we can come up with. And it was submitted all by the state. The results of this deliberation process produced the National Performance Indicators. NPIs. What I have here is a list of NPIs. When we take a break, you can look at them at your leisure. But this is just a sample of them. There are literally hundreds of NPIs. But I just got a copy, and during your break, at your leisure, you can look at those. The NPIs are organized around the 6 national goals. So everything ties together. We got 6 national goals, we got national performance indicators, but they all go together. They all link up together to make this puzzle what it is. And NPIs with the 6 national goals is a standard way of reporting. States are required to address all of the 6 national goals, but have discretion on what NPIs will report from their community action agency. So we at CSP, we use the 6 national goals, but we can also determine which NPIs we want to attach to that particular goal, because there are so many NPIs. Because just one NPI doesn't fit just here. It's so many others that just fit here as well. In 2006, the Roma cycle was created. And it was created as a graphic to help reinforce the concept that Roma included the full range of activities that were included in the IM49. Now remember, I just mentioned to you that IM49 clearly defines what Roma is. So we have the Roma cycle, which is on the wall here. We've discussed what we're going to build all day today. We talked about the 6 national goals, and we know that NPIs go to 6 national goals, but it's all part of the Roma cycle. Elements of the Roma cycle, we have 5 key elements. First element is assessment, which is the community needs and resources and agency data. We have planning, which is the agency mission statement, assessment data to identify results and strategies during the planning. We have implementation of this, which is the services and strategies that produce the results. So we're going to implement these service strategies to get a result. Then we have achievement of results. So we've implemented, now we got to observe and report the progress on these results. And after we do the achievement of results, we evaluate. We analyze, we compare with the benchmarks that are set. And then the cycle starts all over again. In 2009, it was a renewed focus on the accountability. Under the Obama administration, there was something that came out called the PPR, or Performance Progress Reporting. And it had renewed interest. The results that are achieved through the use of federal funds. So we want to get results now under what we have as federal funds. And it's also included in a version of the logic model as well. In 2011, there was another IM, which is the IM 123. This information memorandum provides guidance on a new national focus on key issues that have been identified as priorities for all community action agencies. And the focus now is on accountability and identifying their results. The focus is on accountability. We have to be accountable. The key points of this module, which is module 1, the history, purpose, and perspective, is that we understand that Roma, it was a set of principles and practices that it has grown out of a rich history. We just went through a whole bunch of dates. But you see through all the dates, Roma has grown. Every year it has grown every time something happens. And now Roma is really big. Standardized reporting of outcome is mandatory for all community action agencies since what date? I know y'all know it. I've been telling y'all. 2001. Because I've been pushing that button. The current reporting tool is based on a set of NPIs, which are National Performance Indicators. The framework for achieving the outcomes that we're looking for under the Roma cycle includes a full range of management and accountability activities that is depicted by the Roma cycle. And lastly, there's a renewed focus on performance measurements, which is accountability. That is Module 1, History, Purpose, and Perspective. Now we're going to move to Module 2, which is Mission and Assessment and the agency's mission. We're going to talk about building blocks in a management and accountability system for the network. The learned objectives in Model 2, the agency's mission, is I will introduce to everyone here, if you're not familiar with, Peter Drucker's management framework as a support for Roma principles and practices. And we'll identify the elements of a mission statement and understand the purpose of a mission statement. Those are the objectives for this model. As pointed out, I will do a brief introduction on Peter Drucker. The Drucker Foundation Self-Assessment 2 Workbook. The successful implementation of Roma must originate from a conceptual framework established by the organization. This distinguishes it from collecting and reporting of data to comply with a grant requirement. So get the grant requirement, then we must comply. But we're going to talk about what Drucker says. Peter Drucker was one of the most recognized management consultants. He's no longer living though, so all we have is his work. He died at the end of 2005. His writings cover both the nonprofit and the for-profit sectors. That means people that are out for money and people that are using money, profit, nonprofit. The teachings of Peter F. Drucker are included in the Roma curriculum, since he is well known for both contributing to management of both of the sectors, which is profit and nonprofit. Material from the Drucker Self-Assessment Persistent Workbook is introduced into the Roma curriculum to reinforce the concept that Roma is part of the general accepted management process. Roma is part of the process. We have 5 Drucker questions on the board. The 5 Drucker questions will be presented throughout the Roma modules. They provide support for Roma implementation and sound management practices. We have question 1, which is, what is our mission? Question 2, who is our customer? Question 3, what does the customer value? Question 4, what are our results? And question 5, what is our plan? This workbook is simply a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool to help guide. The workbook is used as a way to reinforce the Roma concepts as part of a general accepted good management practice. So we use this as a tool so we have good management practices with Roma. It's just a tool to help us do Roma well. I'm going to turn to page 14 in the manual. And I'm going to read an excerpt from page 14 out of the manual on what Drucker says. But first, we're going to cover the first question. The first question is, what is our mission? What is our mission? That's the first question. Just something to think about right now. I'm going to read an excerpt from page 14, and it reads as such. Each social sector institutes exists to make a distinctive difference in the lives of individuals and in society. Making this difference is the mission, the organization's purpose, and very reason for being. It changes the life is always the starting and ending point. Changing lives is always the starting and ending point. See, this is a tool So we'll understand that we are to change the lives from the beginning to the ending point. A fundamental responsibility of leadership is to make sure that everyone knows the mission, understands it, and lives it. Whatever the mission is, make sure you understand it, make sure you live it. I'm going to read another excerpt from page 15 out the manual, and it reads as such. The effective mission statement is short and sharply focused. It should fit on the back of a t-shirt. Not a sweater. A t-shirt. Yeah, a t-shirt. The mission says why you do what you do. Not the means by which you do what you do. I say it again. The mission says why you do what you do, not the means by which you do it. The mission is broad, even eternal, yet directs you to do the right things now and into the future so that everyone in the organization can say, what I am doing contributes to the goal. So think, what you doing every day, is it contributing to the goal, the agency? Just something to think about. And the last excerpt I'm going to read, page 16, it's a cautionary note. Never subordinate the mission in order to get some money. There's an old saying, it's all money ain't good money. So never subordinate the mission in order to get money. While the message about the mission states in Drucker is compelling, it's only a tool. It ain't complete. It ain't complete. It's just a tool. So we must understand mission statements. We got to understand mission statements. So understanding mission statements. Page 15 in your manual. Mission statements should address two central themes. Why we're in business, what results are we trying to achieve? That's what the mission statement should address. Because community action agencies are required to address the 6 national goals as part of the eligibility to receive CSBG funding, some references to these goals should appear in the mission statement. I'm going to say it again. Because we have to use the 6 national goals to be eligible for CSBG funding, to receive them. References to these goals should appear in the mission statement. The mission statement is the first place to search for outcomes. The mission statement will describe the purpose of the organization and what it intends to do and accomplish. What's in that mission statement gonna say what you're gonna do and what you're trying to accomplish. But remember, it fit on a t-shirt. It fit on a t-shirt. The general mission of nonprofits and other organizations, local government, is to make a difference in human lives. In the case of the Community Action Agency, the mission for legislation is to support their families in the transition to self-sufficiency and improve the community in which the people live through the corroboration of partnerships. So we talked about all 3 of these, family, community, and agency. It's got to be part of the mission. Tiffany, page 15. Read the bullet points and the shaded area on page 15 for me, please.
Those shaded areas, or just one on the bottom?
Page 15 is some bullet points and then you got a shaded area.
Okay, the one on the bottom. Okay, the 4 key elements are identified below as examples for each. You may think of other examples. The first is population, low income, poverty, special needs, services, social, human, educational, health, or community services, outcomes, self-sufficiency, independence, well-being, ready to learn, and the 4th, relationship, partnership, collaboration, referral, agreement, and contract. Tips from Drucker. The effective mission statement is short and sharply focused. It should fit on a t-shirt.
Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, so we just talked about mission statements. And guess what I have on the flip chart? I have a mission statement for us to look at. I just want you to look at it, give you a minute, look at it, read it. And we're going to talk about those 4 key elements. The 4 key elements are population, services, outcome, relationship. I'm going to read it, and we have an activity in your book on a piece of paper. We'll go over it, but I'm going to read the mission statement. Mission statement: to provide resources and services with other human service providers which resolve immediate needs and lead to long-term self-sufficiency in low-income and vulnerable populations. I got a question. What's in orange? Provide resources and services.
The agency component of the goals.
Provide resources and services. The answer is in
The services.
services. So those are the services of the mission statement. With other human service providers in green.
Relationship.
Relationships.
Collaborations.
Resolve immediate needs, long-term self-sufficiency. That's your outcomes. And lastly, low-income vulnerable population. That's your population. So we have a mission statement, but we have a handout. We want to do an activity of sample mission statements on a handout. Does everybody have it? We're going to go over a few of them. We're going to go over a few, and then we're actually going to write us a mission statement. I want y'all to read over those. We're just going to go over a few of those, and then once we get through going over those, then I'll let y'all get together. Maybe these 3 and 2 and 2 and 3, and we'll come up with a mission statement and we'll write it on the flip chart. But I just want everybody to read over that real quick, and then we'll go over these. Okay, let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, in partnership with the community to assist low-income people to achieve self-determination. What's the population?
Low-income people
Low-income people. What's the outcome?
to achieve self-determination.
Self-determination. What is the relationship?
Partnership with the community.
What is the service?
There is one.
It's real vague.
Assist.
It says assist. So,
Assist,
so we see that's not a complete mission statement. Let's look at number 5. Look at number 5. It said to propose, implement, and advocate development and human service delivery programs for social and economic disadvantaged children and families. What's the population?
Socially and economically disadvantaged
children and families.
What's the outcome?
We don't know.
There's not one. What's the service?
Implement and advocate developmental and human service delivery.
Relationship.
None.
No
There is none.
relationship.
There is none. We'll do a couple more. Number 8, to provide programs leading to self-sufficiency in XY County. What's the service?
Providing.
Provide programs. What's the outcome?
Self-sufficiency.
Hmm.
Oh, let's get to that.
Oh,
Well.
reading too.
It's question mark. Got a question mark. What is the population? XY County. What about the relationship? So we got 2 question marks on that mission statement. And lastly, we'll do number 10. To administer grants will provide assistance to the low-income citizens of the state to promote self-sufficiency. What's the population?
Low income
Citizens of the
What's
state.
the, okay, what's the service?
administration.
Administrative grants. The relationship,
None.
there is none. And the outcome.
Self-sufficiency.
Okay. We just went over the 4 key components, and in the statements it tells about the language that identifies the population to be served. It's to give a description of the service or types of interventions that are offered. The language has got to be clear as it desires results, outcomes, and impact the organization is trying to achieve. And the language that refers the relationship to a community has to be there as well. Okay. Let's write us a mission statement. Can I have a brown marker? Thank you. See if we can come up with a mission statement. Don't everybody speak at once. You can actually use your handout if you want to. What I would like for you to do, Victoria, you and Ms. Harris get together, just look over something. Y'all two look over something. What I want y'all to do, I want y'all to give me the population. Y'all give me the outcome. Y'all give me the y'all give me the service, and you give me the relationship. That way everybody have a part to give in this mission statement that we're gonna write.
So we get to say what the population is?
Yes, ma'am?
This is for CST or
Imaginary
I was just
agency.
gonna say.
Okay.
Imaginary agency. Yep. So we got 4 groups, 2 people, and everybody has a part to give in this mission statement. And once you get it, we'll start at the beginning.
Yep, relationship.
Okay, give us the population. We're gonna start with population.
Assume that that's gonna be the population.
The population we have selected is low income, unemployed, and underemployed persons in Greene County.
Low income,
That's a little specific.
or low income or
Unemployed. It's low income,
I'm a specific kind of gal.
Yeah, comma,
low income
yes,
Comma.
comma, unemployed
Ours
or
works with that.
underemployed.
or underemployed?
Yes,
Yes.
underemployed. Persons in Greene County with the E,
Persons
yes.
in okay. Service. Who has the service? What do we have?
We have to educate, advocate, and support.
To educate, advocate,
And support.
Advocate.
It's okay. You need to find out what the services are.
outcome. Who has the outcome? What's the outcome?
You can say it.
What's the outcome?
To provide GED prep, job readiness,
To
and
provide what?
services.
GED prep.
Oh, wow.
Job readiness.
Specific.
To job,
And
GED
services.
job prep, to provide GED
GED prep.
prep,
Yeah, well, that could be all.
And services.
Yes.
leading to independence. Or to want to use that instead of self-sufficiency.
Services.
That's services.
And
Well, you
relationship.
put the
In
independence at the end.
collaboration and partnership with the greater community.
In collaboration
Big t-shirt.
and
Partnership.
With the state, ma'am.
We could have used this before our Young Child Wellness Council.
I was thinking about this.
in
for our
collaboration
strategic
and
plan.
partnership.
With the greater community. Or do you wanna say state and greater community? With the greater.
Yeah, let's just
Whatever.
say-
Greater community.
With the greater
Fine.
community. Okay.
With our funding sources.
We're gonna leave it right there.
That was a joke, that was a joke.
That's a really
Leave
good
it
approach.
right
We
there.
were writing a thesis.
Okay,
Oh yeah, I feel like I need to scan this and send this over to them.
I thought that would be a great idea.
So-
She's read through 800 pieces of paper.
so as we see, we went over mission statement. Everyone had a element to go in the mission statement, and this is what it says. We're gonna read it. Low income, unemployment, or unemployed or underemployed person in Greene County to educate, advocate, and support to provide GED prep and services leading to interdependence in collaboration and partnership in the greater community. Everything is added.
Can you read
There's
that
some things
again?
that,
Can you
man,
read that again?
I'll read it again.
Okay.
Low income, unemployed, or underemployed persons in Greene County to educate, advocate, and support to provide GED prep and services leading to interdependence in collaboration and partnership with the greater community. It covers everything.
We need
But-
to rearrange
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it can be
Wait,
it can
wait,
really be
wait.
rearranged.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be rearranged.
People
And-
think,
Yes.
And I'm gonna say this and we're gonna move on. We can take out a specific county. We don't have to have that. We can take out the GED prep because we're just talking about a specific area. And we don't have to specify it to that because we can put that in,
Well, isn't
As a
that part of
service.
educate?
That's a service.
yeah. But we could make it more general. I mean, cause it's general. We can just make it real broad. We can make it
Yeah,
broad.
you don't have to identify,
Right,
narrow it.
But-
Provide GED prep is
But it's easier to
educate.
measure
right.
if it's narrow.
That's what he's saying, you don't have to identify all of the service.
But I must say,
It's
it's
easier
really
to
good.
measure.
Really good on the first try to get it together.
That's
That's
the
really
next
good.
researchers mind.
Next module.
So the development of the mission statement, that's the first step in the development of the family, community, and agency outcome. That's the first step. So with missions, we have the M. And the M, we're building the logic model. The M goes at the bottom. Just like on the bottom of a house, the foundation. The mission statement is the foundation for the logic model. Next we have mission change or mission drift. Mission change, anytime an organization adds or drops a program or service, the mission must be reevaluated. The mission for the Community Action Agency, the overall mission, has not changed since 1964. I wasn't even born, but it still hadn't changed. Right.
Bragging.
Keeps
Yeah.
bringing that up.
I wasn't even here, but it still hadn't changed. So whoever was born before me, we still working off the same thing. No changes. So mission change. There are two examples we're going to go over that specify change. One of them is the March of Dimes. And the reason that the mission changed because they achieved their goal. What was the original mission of the March of Dimes?
You probably don't remember it.
It says to
Eradicate polio. It's eradicate polio. So they succeeded. This is what happened. The March of Dimes reinvented themselves, and today their mission is to improve pregnancy outcomes and reduction and elimination of birth defects through education and research. We have one more that mission changed, YWCA. They expanded their interest to include new elements. What was the original mission of the YWCA?
Everybody stayed there.
To provide housing, recreation, and faith-based community centers.
For young women.
That's right.
Or young
So
men.
what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
YM, YW.
They changed their focus. They changed their whole focus. The new YWCA mission is to eliminate racism, empowering women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all, providing safe places for women and girls, building strong women leaders, and advocating for women's rights and civil rights in Congress. Mission drill.
That's a nice mission, I did not know their mission statement, that's really.
Is the men's, do y'all know if the men's is the same that uses men?
We'll have to
I'll look
test
it up.
that. Yeah, we'll test it on a later date.
I'll call Walt, I'll
Um,
text him.
You gotta Google that thing.
I got connections, I'll text him.
The next one is mission drill. This occurs when the agency departs from its original purpose and core values to take on a task that is perhaps related but not directly in support of the mission. I have one example of that, and everybody has heard of Sears. Everybody heard of Sears. Sears had two main sellers: Craftsman Tools, Kenmore Appliances. Well, when they brought out other companies and started expanding like Kmart and Land's Ends, well, then you get other things involved besides just your tools and your appliances. So it completely drifted away from what that first mission was. I'm going to close this section off with a quote from Drucker, page 15. Defining the nonprofit mission is difficult, it's painful, and it's risky. But it alone enables you to set goals and objectives to go to work. Unless the mission is explicitly expressed, clearly understood, and supported by every member of the organization, the enterprise is at mercy of the events. The key points of Module 2, Part 1, which is the agency's mission, is it's concerning the agency's mission to establishment of the outcomes. The successful implementation of Roma must follow from a conceptual framework established by the organization and indicated by a strong mission statement. The results-oriented is reflected in the agency's mission statement. So the results that we want are reflected in the mission statement. The Drucker Self-Assessment Workbook, we introduced it as a Roma curriculum to reinforce the concepts that the principles and practices we know as Roma are part of an accepted management process. This is just a tool. For non-profit agencies, missions are driven. So we are non-profit, we are mission driven. Other agencies are profit driven. We are mission driven. The mission statement should address two central themes. Why are we in business? What results are we trying to achieve? The mission statement is short, focused. The key elements that help to identify the agency can fit on the back of a t-shirt. The mission statement is dynamic and it should be reviewed periodically in case there's a mission change or mission drift. And we identify where on the logic model that the mission is shown, which is at the bottom. At this time, we're going to transition. Lakeisha's going to present Module 2, Part 2.